As we go a little something like this, 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 like this.
Hold on, wait a minute. Y'all hear that? I think it's time for the black brotherhood squad cast. Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome you all to the Black Brotherhood SQUADCAST. I am your host, DJ Gemini. Along with my prestigious panelists, Yancey, Nev, Holiday, and Magic. The black brotherhood. Squad.
Welcome, ladies.
As we go a little something like this.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Black Brotherhood SQUADCAST. I am your host, DJ Gemini, and I'd like you all to welcome my prestigious panelists. First up, my man Nev.
Hey.
To the P-Pals.
Hey, how you doing? This is Never Ford, living in Syracuse, New York right now. Good to see y'all. How y'all doing? Have a blessed day.
All right. Yancey, say what's up?
Hey, what's up, everyone? This is your man Yancey from the great state of Wisconsin. Staying warm, not cold. Happy to be back. Thank you guys for being back, too.
All right. Well said. Next up, my man Holiday.
How y'all doing today?
All right. Short but sweet. Last but certainly not least, my man Magic.
What up? MJ Magic in the house. You can call me Magic from Chocolate City, baby.
All right, y'all. Let's go ahead and get into this. We got a real good show planned for y'all today. Y'all should really enjoy it. We got 4 topics lined up, but first and foremost, we want to definitely pay homage to late Earl Simmons, DMX, that we lost on April 9th, 2021. Ironically enough, I was thinking the other day, every year from now on March 9th, you'll get the Biggie tribute. And 1 month later, you'll get the DMX tribute. Yeah.
I ain't thinking about it.
Yeah. Tell me about it. But anyway, I just want to take a moment. We ain't going to take too long on it. But I just want anybody got a DMX story they want to share, feel free. I'll go first. 2001. Which was the year he put out the album The Great Depression that had the joint Who We Be. Who We Be. Da-da-da-da-da. You know how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
I was hanging out with my man LT, may he rest in peace, Platonic Mechanico, and 2 of his boys for his birthday. And my man LT used to love to frequent the strip clubs. So, there's a street up in Baltimore with a whole damn street. It's just full of strip clubs and adult entertainment stores.
Mm-hmm.
So we was up there. I can't remember which club it was, to be honest with you. It was so many years ago. But we was on our way into the club, and I heard a familiar voice. It was like three or four dudes lined up against the wall, just talking. And we walking past, and I hear a familiar voice. Whatever the hell he was saying. So I stopped, and I was like, X? And he just immediately responded, yo, what's up? I was like, hey, man, what's going on? What you doing out here? Just chilling. So to be honest with you, first and foremost, I was surprised. I was like, this motherfucker really talk like that. That was amazing to me. But anyway, I just dapped him up, man. One thing about, celebrities that I've worked with as well as ones I've met. You get certain ones that really want you to treat them like they are who they are, or as the world knows. Mm-hmm. But most of them really just want you to treat them like a regular old person.
Right.
So I just talked to him like a regular old person, and he seemed to appreciate that. I just told him, I'm a big supporter and a fan. I love what he's doing. Want him to keep doing what he's doing. Like I said, this was the 3rd album. I told him I appreciate the fact that he's still spitting like he ain't even signed yet. Because, we kind of had like a real brief conversation about the sophomore jinx, about a lot of albums, a lot of artists, they come out with their first album and they sound hungry. And then the second album come out, if the first album did well, the second album really don't do that well because they just don't sound hungry no more. Mm-hmm. He was still hungry 3 albums in. And to be honest with you, to the day he passed, he sounded like he was hungry. So that's just my little DMX story. Anybody else got one?
No, I don't.
All right. No problem. Well, this show is going to be dedicated to the great Earl Simmons. DMX, rest in power, rest in peace. All right, let's move on.
Rest in power, DMX.
Our first topic, we're going to talk about the fact how hip-hop artists have reinvented themselves over the years, and what that means for the musical culture itself, and what that means for Black culture in itself. 1520 Sedgwick Avenue, Bronx, New York. August 11th, 1973. DJ Kool Herc basically had a block party in front of his apartment building. And that set off the beginning of what we know as now as hip hop. Props goes out to DJ Kool Herc, who is still living, by the way, 65 years old. And fast forward all the way up to 1994. The notorious B.I.G., Juicy, once said, he never thought hip-hop would take it this far. Mm-hmm. And now we in 2021. And we got artists who own their own apartment complexes. Shout out goes out to Parrish Smith of EPMD. We got artists that own their own vodka companies, labels, promotional companies. Shout goes out to Sean Carter and a whole host of other things he got going on. But first and foremost, I want us to go ahead and talk about that.
Okay, well, let's see. I'm just gonna go. I'm not really rap guy really, and the rap, being from DC, I'm a go-go fiend. So back in the day, early 70s, we started breakdancing and stuff like that. Rappers, to me, rappers back before, they used to, I think they cared about their craft, but now branding is so, making money is so big for today's rappers. They can make money in so many different ways, other than rappers before, I think before the rappers were just more caring about just getting their music out, just being heard. So with that, the game started to change. I remember Ice Cube and NWA broke off, and one person in particular, and he felt like he deserved more money. He said, "Man, I can brand myself." I mean, in a certain case, he kind of was saying he was worth more than what they were trying to pay him. So yeah, a lot of rappers did that, and then other rappers went into movies like Will Smith, did in TV shows. Rappers are doing stuff on the internet like YouTube, Instagram. They're creating their own brands on 360 Xboxes. It's just, they're so easy to make money now. It's almost, you just gotta, you almost, rappers can teach themselves how to brand themselves, which is awesome from back in the day. I was rappers in the 70s and 80s were even thinking about, how big they could be and how much money they could make, at that particular time.
Right.
I'm going to kick it with that.
All right, no problem. We're going to move on to Holiday, see what he got to say. Ladies and gentlemen, on the behalf of the Black Brotherhood Squadcast, we apologize for the technical difficulty on Holiday's audio. Please bear with us and continue to listen. Thank you.
I like to think of the whole thing as the Jay-Z effect. Definitely not the first, but one line that he said that kind of changed the game is we all used to try to be businessmen ourselves, and as he said, it's not a business, it is a business. And that has changed the game for everyone and the world itself. So as you have people are not just trying to be businessmen, say they're trying to be business themselves and make money off their name, their own images, which everyone else used to do off the artists. So I think it's great. Again, I call it the Jay-Z effect. That one line to be changed the game and set up artists. Have a lot of people where you are today, not just rap artists, but almost anybody. Instagram, podcast, and different social media outlets that you can make money. Right? They call them influencers. And all that is only be an influence. You yourself are the business, and people are interested in you. So, like my Magic said, it's opened up a lot of money streams for the individual and themselves. So, I do like that. Now, the limitations the younger generation, they, I think, lack some of that work ethic. I don't want to say work ethic, that's bad, but the understanding of being a business also, which I can think helps with your business. So it has its drawbacks. Of course, it's almost anything. But I do think it's a good thing, and it seems to be the future of the way it goes. So that's my take.
Okay, greatly appreciate that, Holiday. Nev, you next up.
Well, piggybacking on what I said with Jay-Z and the hustler mentality going into mainstream business, I've always been a component saying that business would make a big change once hustler's mentality, the drug dealing from the 80s, 90s era mentality went into the mainstream of business. Once those things connected, that's where you have, you got to pay for every little thing when you go to the hospital, a towel or a tissue or whatever. Every little thing you got to pay for, because now everybody has that hustler's mentality, which came from hip hop from the start. So Jay-Z is a great example of that, of bringing it to the mainstream now. But rappers and entertainers, hip hop people been changing the game for a long time, branding their name, like Marcus said. That's the new game now, is making yourself a brand name where people can see you everywhere, clothing, and you have people acting now. You have people, perfumes with Nicki Minaj, and everybody got perfume or cologne. You got Snoop Dogg doing dog food. You got clothing for restaurants, juice bars with Styles P and the Locks, and you got them doing all types of stuff. The new entrepreneurs nowadays are coming out of the hip hop industry nowadays, because hip hop is kind of getting ignored right now. People not really paying attention to these artists really, but you still have great artists out there. You just gotta search for it differently. You're not gonna find it on the radio and stuff like that. So you already have people out there which basically have their own brand name, but you just gotta search for it more. But the evolution of it, I think, is always growing, and you just got, hopefully these kids take it seriously and just keep moving it forward. However they're going to do it, business, entertainment, it's a lot of ways for them to go. So I mean, I like to see. I'm happy where hip hop is, and I'm happy to see where it's going.
All right. Very well said. Very well said. It definitely have come a long way Like I said, since 1973, man.
Mhm.
Yeah, Yancey, what's up? What you got to say on the topic? Hip-hop.
Thanks, Gemini. I just want to piggyback after off of what my brother said, what Nev and what Holiday and what Magic said, but not going into those details, but actually taking it a step above that, because what we've all described is capitalism, and that's one of the blessings that makes America one of the greatest countries in the world. You see this evolution of individuals that may have started out down here and where they've evolved to with that diversifying mentality. And honestly, brothers, that can only happen in America. I mean, you see these stories, these triumphant stories of coming from nothing to something. That can only happen in America. Not to say that America is perfect, but you don't see this type of evolution in those other countries. You don't see the diversification of just businesses in general. And that's what these individuals are. They're their own corporations, their own businesses. So like Nev said, like Marcus said, and like Holiday said, they've been able to take their craft and expand it into an empire where they are doing, they're producing movies, or they're producing other artists, television shows, movies, even electronics and technology. Look at Dr. Dre with his Beats audio. I mean, there's just so many things that the hip hop world per se has allowed these individuals to launch into. But again, if it wasn't for the capitalistic mindset of America as a whole, where if you work hard, you put the time in, you develop a product because you see a need in the community or a need in the, in the nation, you try to fill that need for the consumers. And the consumers have been eating up this hip hop culture, which involves the music, the language, the fashion, the cologne, the beverages. And I think it's just awesome because, again, it just shows the idea of America and living that American dream. Now, it doesn't work out for everyone, but it doesn't say that everyone doesn't have a chance to do that. And these individuals that you guys have named, like a Will Smith, like a DMX, because he went from making records to movies. You look at, Ice Cube, you look at P. Diddy, you look at Snoop Dogg, Jay-Z. These individuals have become corporations in and of themselves. And they can only do that in America because of our capitalistic mentality or capitalistic approach. So that's what I like to contribute to say that, America's not perfect, but it is the best country in the world because it allows for these opportunities to happen because of that capitalism that we offer or that we provide or that is provided. So I think it's great.
I kind of agree with Magic. The artists today, I don't think they put this much focus on the music. So I'm not a big fan of music. But maybe y'all can help me. Maybe I'm just becoming an old guy and kind of get off my lawn. But I kind of agree with Ed. I like the influence that the rap industry is having on. So when Ned, when you say you like that, are you talking about the influence or the music or both? Because I don't know about this music.
The music. See, the problem with the music industry right now is that the game is flooded with millions of rappers. So you're not going to find the best songs that's coming out on the radio like it used to be. Like when we came up, you knew where to find the best songs at. It was coming on the radio. You know what I'm saying? You knew where you knew what 95.5 was going to play or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You knew what was coming on because those were the best songs. Nowadays, with streaming, you have so many rappers and the music industry basically telling you the rappers they want you to listen to every day by basically directing you down this one way of thinking the rap game is, that you kind of get lost that it's millions of other rappers and other streaming services that can really, really rap. Because I listen to a lot of them. And they can really, really, they can rap with anybody you can name. You can name people from back or wherever you want. I can find somebody that rap nowadays that can rap with them now. You know what I'm saying? But you just won't know them. That's all.
Right.
I think you're right because the people I hear, that's what part of make me think I'm getting. No, I don't understand. I don't know what They seem to cuss way more than the rappers we had, cause everything damn shit fuck damn. So it's I don't like it.
Yeah, I think what Nam was saying, I agree. Well, we kind of mostly agree with him. Like Holiday, like to me, I feel like the rappers can rap. Like he said, you listen to some of them, they can really rap. And they got good rappers. But even those kind of rappers back in the day, a lot of them weren't played on the radio, but you didn't even hear them unless you just knew where to find the music or where to get that kind of music from. Because the radio is more likely going to play what they feel can sell, what they want people, the influence of, the influence people who's hearing it. That's the problem I have with rap today. I'm happy that everybody can make money. I never get mad about that.
Yeah, making money.
Yeah, that's always good.
But the problem I have with rap is where it's going, especially with women. Like, if you have little girls, I'm just like, this is like you, like this is crazy. Like you don't want the direction that it's going is just like, I just don't like the direction. Like, of course, when Public Enemy and people like that came out, I mean, they stopped the noise. It was getting big at one time, and they just put an end to it. But I would like to see rap go back in that direction. I like to see people be some of the younger rappers be more talented instead of just making money to make something more cultural and more beneficial, for rap, life in general.
It's funny that you bring up that. Nev and I was having this discussion not too long ago about the industry and the effects it has on the female rapper. And what choices do they necessarily have? Because sex sells, and it seems like they're not going to sell a record unless they doing something sexy or talking sex.
Right.
So we were talking about that. Unfortunately,
it's a man's work. It's a man's work.
Yeah,
I mean, but you can even take that into society though, for real. You know what I'm saying? Because you want to look at like Instagram models and all that type stuff. How we basically, that's what the lane we put them in is like, if it ain't sexy, it ain't gonna sell to us. You know what I'm saying? So they kind of stuck in it, like kind of in a corner of how to really blow up in the game, basically. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm guilty, but
you have a few of them, but it ain't a lot. You don't see rap to see blowing up in the mainstream. That's all I'm saying. But go ahead, fast, my bad.
No, yeah, I was actually cut you off, my bad. I was going to say I'm guilty, but I'm not, because I don't pay for none of it. But I do find at this age, I'd like to have something cold and see something naked. But
now I like it.
Right. I can be entertained by it.
I like Cardi B. I love it. I'm just saying, it's just not for rap itself. It's just not that. It's not a good direction.
For the young,
that shouldn't be the only way for her to sell.
Right.
So that's a bowl of soup for another day. Well, just to close out, just to piggyback real quick, as I'm closing it out on some comments that Nev, Magic, and Yancey brought up. As far as the female hip hop artists go, not saying no in no shape, form, or fashion was it Biggie's fault, because Biggie was being creative at the time. If anybody remembers, prior to Biggie basically introducing Lil' Kim to the world, we had female artists such as, MC Light, Queen Latifah, Isis, Salt and Pepper, Finesse and Sinquist, so on and so on.
Finesse and Sinquist.
Gotta get them in there, baby.
Oh my goodness.
Lady T.
That took me so far back, yo.
Anybody I did not name, it's not because I haven't forgotten. It just, I can go all day.
Nah, that just took me so far back, yo.
Yeah.
Finesse and Sinquist, yo. That's woo! You know what I'm talking about, Joe. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah. Indeed I do. But anyway, as I was saying, nobody was really selling sexism prior to Lil' Kim on that level anyway.
Right.
If you remember following Lil' Kim, Foxy kind of basically emerged, which Jay gets credit for basically introducing her to the world. And as we fast forward throughout the years, you know, you had artists as the Brat who came out looking like a tomboy, but as her third album came out, when she basically started getting pressured to be a little more sexist to keep up with the Lil' Kims and Foxy Browns of the world, she started to show a little more skin. And then you had artists who were still trying to stay with that older style of, you know, like the MC Light tomboyish look like Rod Digger. They pretty much didn't get no play like that. When they was being backed by major artists such as Busta Rhymes, such as Rod Digger was, being a member of the Flip Mode Squad. Oh yeah,
Rod Digger, she get down.
And then we got.
It's like Yo-Yo.
Oh yeah, definitely Yo-Yo. Yo-Yo got a little more backing than a lot of other artists who really wasn't showing skin like that, because she pretty much came out in the era where conscious hip hop was still relevant. There was actually a meeting in the music industry back in '99 that basically was the whole sole purpose of the meeting was to basically try to hush socially conscious hip hop. And that's why around 2000 till now, you really don't get too much of that. And if you do, like Nev quoted earlier, Rhapsody really don't get no attention like that, because she does socially conscious hip hop. You know, so does Joyner Lucas. How you say his name on Nev? Toby
Nwigwe.
There you go.
What did you say?
I like some of the video. I like the video.
Holiday.
But anyway.
Toby Nwigwe.
These some dope ass.
He's
artists,
incredible,
man.
yo. He's incredible.
There's certain ones that kind of slip through the cracks. That people say, okay, we're gonna go ahead and let them in, like the J. Cole's and the Kendrick Lamar, because they got a real slick way of being socially conscious, yet saying something where people don't feel like they being preached or teached.
Right.
But basically, yeah, there was a conscious, an intended meeting to kind of basically hush socially conscious hip hop.
Still doing
everybody's pretty much trying to copy what Biggie did, man, in creating Lil' Kim. And as we know, sex sells. Violence sells.
It does.
Sells.
Sure does.
You know, as the consumers, I don't just fault the music industry, because the music industry basically going to do what the consumer is willing to buy, or in this particular day and age, what they're willing to stream. So basically the consumer controls the material that's out there, but I don't really think everybody really understands that. And the ones that do understand it say, well, hey, I don't really like everything that's out there, but every now and then I want to see some skin. I want to see some TNA. And as Magic mentioned earlier, it's a man's world. I know that's going to piss a lot of women off, but it is. And pretty much, we dictate a lot of what's going on. But moving on. Real quick, just to close out.
We could have did the whole show on this, Joe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we could. Yeah.
Just to close out, Run DMC is the official first artist who ever signed commercial corporate deal with a major company such as Adidas. 1.6 million back in 1986 when they did their Adidas show toe top Adidas deal. Also remember, Ice Cube being credited as one of the first artists to promote a malt liquor, St. Ides, 1993. So we've definitely come a long way. Anyway, we're gonna table this topic right now, and we're gonna come back to it at a later date.
Never ready, man.
Moving on.
Nev is ready.
Oh yeah, I know he is. But our second topic is missing my major madness. How has the absence of major top-notch universities affected the NCAA March Madness tournament by not being there. This was the first time since 1976 in the NCAA March Madness tournament that both Duke and Kentucky was not present. So, that being said, Holiday, you first up. What you gotta say, missing my major madness?
So, I quit the whole March Madness thing in the Blue Blood. You forgot to mention North Carolina was in there, but we can still go ahead.
Wisconsin.
We said Blue Blood. That's not nothing to do with them. But anyway. I equate it to like stars in the movie. That's what draws you to the movie is the stars that are in it. You can kill them all in the movie, but at the end of the movie, you still need a star to kind of sell you on the whole thing. Of course, it's March Madness. You're gonna, because of the money involved, the gambling, and the outside interest that it draws. People that don't watch college basketball at all come to it this time of the season. They pick brackets by colors and mascots. So, of course, you're going to have interest, but it's more interesting because it gives you more outside, more talk at the bars, fellas. And also, let me not leave our ladies that are interested in sports to talk about it. They talk about it more when the blue bloods involved. Everyone loves to see North Carolina and Duke battle at their best, North Carolina and Kentucky at their best. I mean, a couple of us hang around and watch Kentucky, but you kind of get what I'm saying. Kansas also, but, as long as a good North Carolina team is out there,
Calm down, man. Calm down.
I'm just saying, college basketball is very exciting when North Carolina's doing good, along with some of these other groups. It's like, let's say, it's a astounding movie. I'll never forget the movie Crossing Guard. One of the worst movies I ever saw in my life, but I watched it because Jack Nicholson was in it, and I kept watching it. And how this movie is soon to come to an end, but I stayed in there like he's supposed to do something magical at the end. Because it was a Jack. So a star can get you to hang around. So.
That's funny, yo.
Next up, we got Magic.
All right. Hey, I'm a blue blood because I like Duke. So, obviously, I'll be a little biased with that. You definitely need Duke in the tournament. But outside of that, the NCAA basically, to me, is going to sell because you have alumni. And with alumni, you don't need Duke, you don't need North Carolina, you don't need no blue bloods, you don't need none of these teams because you have alumni that's going to root for their team. Now, yes, it does make it better when it's more fan-based teams from back in the day because they have a long history of winning, so they obviously have more fans. But at the end of the day, it's not really going to make much difference. Like Holiday said, people are betting on the game. March Madness has grown since the 80s. People going to watch it. It's the throwing parties. It's the thing to do. People cut it on to watch it, and don't even watch it.
That is true.
So now the viewers, now as far as watching, like I think the NCAA this year was a little bit lower than it was last year, or like in 2018 or 17. Now that could be part of it, but they also moved the days. So the day Saturday to Tuesday.
Yep.
So that's part of why it went down, not necessarily because of the teams that was in it. They ended up with 2 number 1 teams with Gonzaga and Baylor, which was awesome because one team was undefeated and one team should have been undefeated and they didn't have a COVID, outbreak early in the season. So it ended up being fantastic. But at the end of the day, I think the tournament's fine. They might lose some viewers at later rounds if the Cinderellas keep winning. As long as they got some top teams in there, I think people still watch it. But like I said, when they get upset in the beginning, people love it. They love watching the big dog go down. I mean, yes, let's watch more. But at the end of the day, you don't want to see those teams in the championship. So it may not be as good. But as far as having the top dogs like Duke or Michigan, you don't need all of them. You just need some of them. Maybe. Not all of them. No. So you don't need one every year. You don't need that.
I do want to say congratulations to the Baylor Bears. Won the NCAA championship on this past April 5th. They beat the Gonzaga Bulldogs 86-70. But the final score does not really tell the story. It was a great smash.
Smash mouth. What the hell?
They got stomped like a Brothers Johnson song. But anyway, Jans, what you got to say? Missing my major madness.
Thanks, Gemini. I gotta start off with what Holiday said. I think there is a sense of familiarity or familiarness with the teams like a Duke, like a Kentucky, like a Michigan, because I do think that's the draw. However, seeing these mid-majors send these teams and them having their Cinderella runs, I thought that was awesome too. But I do believe you need a combination of both. Duke not being in the tournament, I'm not sure. I think it was because of COVID protocol. Maybe they didn't meet the COVID protocol, and that's why they weren't in, if I remember correctly.
We suck. I knew that.
And Kentucky had some rough going too. But look at it like this. I think you need those major programs. I think you need those Power 5 conferences because that's your draw. But I think what makes it great is having these mid-majors, so you kind of got your David and Goliath thing. And I think people enjoy that. But I think you do. I miss not seeing Duke and Kentucky in there. I do miss that. Because when you see them in the region, you know you're going to get a good game. You know the coaching lineage. I miss seeing them in there. I really did. So, I'm okay with having, the big dogs in the race. But I do like to see the little dogs overachieve as well. So I think there was a little bit of, and this is taking away the whole COVID dynamic. Like Magic had mentioned, they changed the schedule because they were, doing this bubble thing where they all were playing in Indianapolis. And I think that took a lot away from it too, because people couldn't keep up with the schedule. When is this team playing? When are they playing? It's not that the same way it used to be. Hopefully next year it'll be back to the way it was as far as the schedule. But I miss seeing Duke and Kentucky.
Yeah, me too. And I'm going to go ahead and speak for Nev. I know he missed Kentucky.
I miss Duke.
When we come back, we will be doing our third topic, take 3 for the 1. We got 2 of our panelists. They're going to choose 4 of their favorite 90s movies and eliminate 1 and tell us why. And our other 2 panelists are going to select their 4 favorite video game consoles. Eliminate 1 and tell us why. Topic is called Take 3 for the 1. First up, we got Nev and Holiday picking their favorite 4 movies from the 90s era and then eliminating 1 and telling us why they chose to eliminate that particular one. Fellas, y'all on the mic.
So I decided to do Hood Classics. And my 4 movies that I'm putting up there is Menace to Society, Boys in the Hood, New Jack City, and Set It Off.
Nice.
I'm having a problem with this one. I don't know.
I see why.
Which one I would really get rid of, because it's a problem for me, because I love all these movies. But if I had to choose to get rid of one, I mean, it's between Set It Off and New Jack City for me.
Okay.
Boys in the Hood and Menace to Society ain't going nowhere for me. Those are my 2 of my favorites. And so it's too many quotables in New Jack City for me to just say that, and then Set It Off is just a great movie. You know what I'm saying? So I might just go with New Jack City. I might get rid of New Jack City.
Okay.
With all my favorite quotables and stuff like that, I'm happy to go with New Jack City. Because we're talking about hood classics. There's no more hood than Boys in the Hood, Menace to Society, and Set It Off. You know what I'm saying? You got your female version of the hood, you got your male version of the hood. New Jack City was more of the explosion of the crack epidemic. I mean, which is fine. It's still hood regardless, but I don't know. Those other 3 just hold a special place in my heart. Really. Even though New Jack City just had probably the bigger actors and the more quotables from the movie and stuff like that. It's more things that I remember.
Okay.
Out that movie.
That's fair enough. Hey, Holiday, real quick before you go, tell everybody what movie you think Nev should have eliminated, if not New Jack City.
I wouldn't have chose Set It Off because of the all-female cast. And the meaning I thought that had.
What did you think, Marcus, since you said that?
Oh, I said Menace Society because they got the worst music track.
Oh, they got the worst musical soundtrack.
That's a good one. That's good, yo.
I like that. All right, Holiday. What's your 4 picks for 90s movies?
Okay, so I got Half-Baked. I did comedy. I went with comedy. I got Half-Baked, Friday, Major Payne, and Bad Boy.
All right.
And out of that, I eliminated Half-Baked. And the only reason is because that's the one I laughed out loud the least at.
Okay.
I laughed out loud at all of them, but you know, that was the least. Mm-hmm. All of them had me, pretty much laughing pretty good. So, oh my goodness.
I believe that's Dave Chappelle's debut. Am I correct?
Half-Baked?
Yeah.
Oh.
It might not be as funny to you or myself, but it'll be funny. But we ain't gonna get it on the same level as those who do smoke. Let me put it that way.
Oh, Half-Baked? Yeah, I'm back. Yeah.
Okay, that's why I didn't like it.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's what Half-Baked. I don't think I saw Half-Baked, but I saw the, Friday's a classic, and Major Payne. I like that movie with Damon Wayans. And what was your 3rd one you said? Oh, Bad Boys. Wasn't that a drama? It had a lot of comedy in it, but wasn't that considered a drama?
It was a comedy.
Action comedy.
Action comedy. Okay, action comedy. Okay. With Martin Lawrence and Will Smith. Okay.
All right, Nev, which movie you think Holiday should have eliminated if you don't agree with Half-Baked?
Oh, absolutely. Half-Baked. No, that's
okay.
Definitely Half-Baked. I mean, it just... at that time, Dave Chappelle wasn't the Dave Chappelle as we know him, so it didn't have the star cachet at that point, and it just didn't hold up to the other 3. That's all. It just didn't hold up to the other 3. It was funny though. Don't get me wrong. It was very funny,
definitely.
But it was more of the almost the silly funniness, I guess. Just more of the silliness of it. So,
right, absolutely. There are certain movies. There are certain movies, such as Half-Baked, and even Friday, for that matter. As funny as Friday is to me and everybody else who doesn't smoke, I'm quite sure it's twice as funny to those who do, especially if they was under the influence when they watched it. So, certain movies are directed at certain demographics, and but it's always good when you don't necessarily fit in that particular demographic, but you still get it. So So then, that's genius to be able to do that. Shout out goes out to Ice Cube and F. Gary Gray.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're gonna move on. Dancing and Magic picking their 4 favorite video game consoles, taking 3 and eliminating 1. Yance, you first up.
Thanks, Gemini. All right, I'm gonna take us back, Magic. And fellas, I'm gonna take us back. All right, the 4 that I picked, and this goes back to our childhood. That's why I wanted to look at these 4 particular gaming systems. The first one was Odyssey by Magnavox, if you guys can remember that.
Dang.
Yes.
Odyssey, Atari. So I'm saying Odyssey, Atari, Intellivision, and ColecoVision. But out of the 4, as much as I like it, the one that I would have to remove would probably be Atari. And the only reason, and I'm talking about Atari, the first one, the one now is called Flashback Atari, was because the only reason I say that is because I thought Odyssey, Intellivision, and ColecoVision had the console handled better sport games than Atari did. That's why I chose Atari, because remember, Atari, they were still trying to do their thing, but when it came to like football and baseball, you saw a little bit more, a better version of it on Odyssey, Intellivision, and ColecoVision. That's my only thing.
Name the 4 again. I can't remember which one I was thinking.
Odyssey, Intellivision, ColecoVision, and Atari.
Odyssey.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what I would have chose myself. I don't even remember Intellivision.
I thought the football games and the other sports games that were out during that time for each of those consoles, I didn't think Atari measured up. And I know there's the game design and all that stuff, and it was all in the beginning. But at that moment in time with those 4 systems, that's why I chose Atari.
I got Atari. I'm just going to pick the ones that I played the most. So I got Atari, PlayStation. That'd be PlayStation 2.
Okay.
ColecoVision, and Nintendo.
Ooh, okay.
All right, so for me, I took out ColecoVision because it was just the Palm, and it wasn't like I didn't really get into most of the games after that because I kind of moved into Atari. Other than Yancey, to me, Atari had like those fun games to play. It wasn't necessarily the sports, but it was just like Space Invaders and Pitfall. Like they were just fun household games to play. That's why I kept it. That's why I kept Atari over ColecoVision. And then PlayStation, and then Nintendo. I like Nintendo because of Mario. I love Mario, playing Mario.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
The Mario game itself was just fun to play outside the other games. And then the PlayStation 2 level of sports. That's when I had stopped playing games for a long time. But when a lot of people started playing PlayStation 2, it just took it to another level of sports. And I just like, man, I think I got to get this another shot because the look, the way it looked, and everybody was just talking about how it played real with the sports game. So I was like, yeah, play. So I went. I had to get back on. So I'm giving PlayStation 2 props for getting me back in my video game.
Right, absolutely. The Tandy handheld football game can't get no love.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
The old green joint.
The green monster. There you go. Yeah.
That's my shit, yeah.
Who got a 9-volt battery?
Absolutely.
All right, I'm quite sure we done took some people way, way back, man. Hopefully we can get Friday and Half Baked and Bad Boys and Menace to Society and all that some streams.
Hopefully.
I want to tell a story. For me, I would have took out ColecoVision just because it only had the sports games. And I think Cupid, that's what they played on it. But the story I want to tell,
Gilbert, baby, Gilbert.
Yeah, that was the only games we played on it, and you were the only one that had it too.
Yeah.
But the story I want to tell is my first video. I'm a little biased. My first video game was Atari, and really the first video when I had I don't even know what you call that other little video game where you got that ball that bounces, you got that stick you can move up and down. It's like that fake tennis. I had that first. I don't know all that.
That was Palm, yeah.
Then yeah. So I ended up getting my first Atari. Y'all know me, I ate cereal. I was 24-hour cereal eater.
Oh yeah.
So I got tired of opening the boxes and getting the package and sorry you didn't win. So of course this one I take out and sit on the table. It's sitting over there for a week or more, maybe even 2 weeks. Right? He said, why didn't you open it? Can I open it? Sure. Man, I said, I never win at that. So he opens it, tells me I won. Oh, of course, I don't believe me, you're lying. He shows it to me. Now, y'all remember the Lee Avenue. My grandma's just in the kitchen, which is what? 10 yards at the most away.
Right.
But I called her like she was upstairs on the 5th floor somewhere. I'll throw it away. So because of fast opening, got my first video game. Sent it away.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
I was a video player ever since.
That's a nice story. I like that. That's a nice story.
That's a
Y'all know I
did.
did
That's
into
a
the
fact.
video games like that. I got into it whatever year Sega Dreamcast came out.
Oh yeah, Sega Dreamcast.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was on it hard for like a strong 9 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, I phased off.
Yeah, Dreamcast. Remember Atari 5600?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They had the pole position. Remember that pole position game?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
I remember Marcus was the world's greatest Pac-Man playing game person.
Peace. Yeah.
Marcus could, yes, Marcus could.
Because he used to be in the highs, but I was playing that.
The highs.
Way back. Taking you way back.
The highs right in there in the corner of Lee and Carroll, right there.
If I go.
No, what was that other street? Carroll Avenue and then Grant. Yeah.
And if somebody would be my high school, I'd be that joint all day, beat the all day. I'm getting that. It ain't be mine. We got to give shout out to Nintendo also for having the first best basketball and football game. The double dribble and Nintendo.
Oh,
that's true.
Double dribble.
That's true.
Yeah, double dribble.
Oh man, that joint was where it's at till live game.
That's true. Real quick.
Yeah.
I know all of us don't have children. I know your cat don't play video games, Jan.
No, he does not.
So all of us that have children, want to share with everybody what your children into as far as the video games are concerned.
My son played Fortnite and the sports game. Mostly now he plays the NBA, different basketball and stuff playing.
Okay.
No Madden?
He has a current NBA one. Not as much. He's more basketball guy than football.
Okay.
Of course, because he inherited the home team. And we ain't won nothing since before I graduated high school. So, football is not the first thing he runs to.
But the word on the street is that his father was a pretty good Madden player, if I remember.
Mm-hmm.
That's still. So I haven't played as much. He has had a table, offer on the table for a while to play me. I'm sure if I pick up the stick, he'll give me a whipping. Last time I played, man, I was so slow. Yeah, man. So it's I was very basic in my schemes. Marcus and Bash can tell you, I had some of the most exotic schemes you ever want to talk about in the Madden era, because I would take a left cornerback and have him cover a receiver on the right side of the field. Stuff that unheard of. You can't do that.
Stupid stuff, yo. He's doing all this exotic stuff, and I would do the basics.
Yeah.
It was like a tug of war of exotic or against basics, yo. We used to go at it, yo.
Him and Marcus both got to see me in my imagination stage, man, just creating all kind of shit. And they just ran the most basic shit because they know if you get caught up with what I'm doing, I'm a trick.
Anybody else got a share for their children?
Go ahead now.
Yeah, Jay, he plays not Fortnite. I mean, he used to play Fortnite a lot, but he's back on Call of Duty. A lot of his friends, where they doing I don't know if they got their team they play or whatever, whoever they playing out there. I don't know. He do Madden.
I'm sorry, I play that too.
Yeah.
He does Madden. He plays Madden a lot, and he plays 2K, where he did they did try out for the tournament, the E-League tournament or whatever it is.
Okay.
So he had a team that tried out for that. So he played on that one, but they didn't do much. So
did he use Giannis? Did he use Milwaukee, the Bucks?
I think he did. That's why he's not there, Yancey.
No.
Imagine what baby girl into it.
Nah, I'm playing.
Imagine what baby girl into with the video game.
Let me see. I don't know these names, but when I come down and see her, she's playing the dance. She likes the dancing game. I don't know the name of the thing.
Just Dance, I think it's called.
Just Dance, yeah.
And then she also played. Recently, she's been playing this. I guess about for a long time, but it's a Mario and some other Mario, not Mario, but it's another person with.
Is it Nintendo?
Yeah, it's
Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, that's what she's playing.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, because my son got it. I know what you're talking about.
Okay. Yeah, that's it.
See, I told y'all I'm not hip. I couldn't have helped you at all, Marcus. I didn't know what the hell you was talking about.
Just to cap this off real quick, it's amazing how from the day and age that we come from, the day and age we was raised in, that, we can play video games with the same person in the same room, but nowadays you can play video games with somebody across the world online.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course, there's a dangerous component to that because, when you got a child, such as my son's age, we don't allow him to do it right now because, I don't know who's who. You could be playing a child molester in Italy for all the hell I know.
Right. Exactly.
But anyway, just for the actual medium, just to be able to do that, is amazing. When you think about the day and age we grew up in.
Right.
Somebody ran all the way to New York to stop playing me in Mad Chicken Cat. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
But saying no names though. All right, anyway.
Now you just want to be funny now. He's making jokes.
Before we move into our last topic, I want everybody's feelings on Hubert Davis gave his press conference for the acceptance of the head coaching job for the University of North Carolina Tar Heels job a couple of days ago. And everything was going real well, in most people's opinion, with the interview. When they asked him how significant was it to him that he's now the first African-American coach for the University of North Carolina, he answered the question very eloquently, very well, and then he threw a comment in there that kind of made people go, what was that? When he said, I'm very proud to be African-American, but I am also proud that my wife is white and that our kids are a mixture of the both of us. Now, before everybody goes, I want to make it perfectly clear. The Black Brotherhood SQUADCAST, although it is pro-Black, it is not anti any other race. We support and love everybody. One of our panelists is actually married to a Caucasian woman. So definitely, please, no emails, no social media comments about the Black Brotherhood SQUADCAST is hating on
that would be odd.
Relationships.
Yeah, don't add us. Yeah, don't add
anything of that nature.
You got Gemini.
As my man MC Shan said back in the 80s, kill that nut.
Yeah.
MC Shan.
Moving forward. Does anybody like to comment on that particular topic? If not, then feel free not to.
Well, me being a Tar Heel fan, I'll vote for that. Of course, I like the hire first. Had nothing to do with any of the race thing. First of all, because we stayed in house. I think I texted to y'all. I know I was talking to Fat Nails for the podcast about it. That I wanted to stay in house. Secondly, yes, I'm very proud to be the first of the Blue Bloods to hire a Black coach. Secondly, the timing of, or I should say the place and the kind of the timing of when he said it is what kind of threw folks off. But again, you know, he's getting a lot of attention at the time, so I could see kind of why he said it. At this place where we're at in the country, I have no problem with anybody talking about the unit races. This case happened to be white and black, but anything united. That's what we need this country to see more of instead of the divisiveness that we have. We clearly see that we disagree on a lot of things, but that's not what made us the United States of America. It's the things that we are united on that help us move forward. We have our differences. We've lived with those for years. But now those seems to be our focus, and it seems to just be pulling us further apart. So anytime you can highlight unity, racial unity at this state in America, it to me is a beautiful thing, and anyone sees differently. I just think you're helping to divide the country instead of unite. And if you can't find goodness in uniting the country, the very thing that we are, before making America great, anything that we are the United States. That's how we got to be number one in the world. United, we stand. And so if we put that to the forefront and remember that this divisiveness, how you fall, will stop, because throughout history, a lot of powerful places have come down. Remember, Rome was supposed to be the leaders forever. And so if we want to continue to hold our spot in the free world as number one and be the greatest place on earth to live, as we call it.
You know, anytime you can promote love in the world, you know what I'm saying, you can't knock it. You know what I'm saying? You really can't knock it. You know what I'm saying? No matter what it is. You know, you just got to accept everybody's choices in life and just move on and do well in your life and make sure you treat everybody how you want to be treated. Simple and plain, and keep it moving.
Yeah, I think for me, I agree with you guys. I think it's his press conference. I mean, in your press conference, you say whatever you want, and nobody should have any issues with what you got to say. He got the job, and how he want to express how he feels about getting the job, I don't have a problem with it. Now, outside of that, for me, just personally, I probably wouldn't have done that. You know, whatever nationality my wife is, it wouldn't matter to me. I don't need to preference that to everybody. Like,
right.
I just think for me personally, with him being hired by North Carolina, being the first black to be hired, it looks kind of funny. Not man saying he was being funny or anything, but to me it looks kind of funny because it's like, okay, well, all these people don't want a black coach, and now you're hired as a black coach, and then you point out your white wife, like, are you looking for a step? And I'm not saying he was. I'm just saying, like, hey, I got a white wife. Even though I was black. But I'm not saying it was. I'm just saying, to me personally, when you put out stuff, when you emphasize stuff to me that don't need to be emphasized, it makes people question, why did you emphasize it? Or why do you do things a certain way? And that, I mean, that, like I said, I had no problem with it. I mean, he wants to say whatever he wants to say. It's his press conference. It's his day. You know, whether he said it or didn't say it, it doesn't bother me. I'm just saying, from my perspective, you know, the way people when you say things, people look at how you say them and they take them a certain way. So to me, like, you got to explain yourself when you say certain things. And like, I think this is a classic situation of where he was just saying things from his heart, but then now you got to ask the question.
For the benefit of the listeners, Yancey is our panelist. That is the one that's in an interracial relationship, actual an interracial marriage, in fact. So I really want to hear what his take on it is. So without further ado, Yancey, please, what you got to say?
Thanks, DJ Gemini. First, let me just say, I wasn't aware that Hubert Davis had been hired as the next basketball coach for the North Carolina Tar Heels. I knew that he was in the running, and that's just because I hadn't been keeping up with what was going on. Those that know me, I'm all about the Pittsburgh Steelers, and until August roll around, I'm kind of, not really keeping in touch, except for the Brewers and the Bucks, but not as often as maybe others are. But I guess my question is, yes, my wife is white, and I love my wife because she takes good care of me. She loves me for me, good, bad, worse. She's willing to stick in it with me and vice versa. But I guess my question is, why does everything have to be the first? The first. The first. I'm sure there were a lot of other candidates, regardless of the color, that were qualified, and he got chosen. I think Holiday made a good point. He was in-house, promoted from within. He's a fellow Tar Heel alum, basketball player. But why is there such an emphasis on the first black, the first black? I think, or the first female, or the first this, or the first that. It seems like when we push that narrative, whatever happens after that is either going to be everybody agrees that it's a good thing, or if you have a problem with it, then you're ostracized. And why do we have to have that? Regardless of what color your spouse may be, as long as your spouse is treating you the way you want to be treated, it really shouldn't matter, because when the lights go off, when Hubert Davis left that press conference, and like I said, I didn't see it, the only person he had to answer to was his wife. Because she may have said something, honey, what was that all about? You see what I mean? So it's one thing to always do things in the public eye, but what we have to keep in mind is we have to go home. Why, and deal with that situation. So Hubert Davis is black. Who cares? We just want a person that's going to win if you're a Tar Heel fan. And then something must have made him want to say that. Something must have wanted him to acknowledge that. I don't know what it was. I don't know why. Something he felt inside had to make him say, and by the way, I love my wife who is white, if that's what he said. Because again, I didn't see the press conference. So I'm just going on based on what you guys said. But what I'm looking at is, why does it always have to be the first this, the first that? Because when you say the first this and the first that, what are you saying? You're saying two different things, I believe. You're saying that it's about time, which could be a good thing, or you're saying that there was nobody else qualified for them to even take a look at because they're the first. What about all the other black head coaches that have laid the way or have had the opportunity to lead, other teams? I just, maybe there hasn't been a black coach at North Carolina because of the lineage of the coaches. Dean Smith, Roy Williams. It's not like they were here 2 seasons and gone. You look at the lineage of who was the predecessor. I find it appalling, and actually said that as a society, you always got to be the first black, the first this, the first that, the first this, the first that. All that does is lead to more controversy, and it puts race. Race has to be, how they say everything is political? Now it's to the point where everything is race. And Lord forbid, if you don't choose the right side or what society deems to be the right side, then you're going to be in more trouble, like probably Hubert Davis is in. But my question would be, what is Hubert, by him making that statement, who cares what everybody else thinks? When he goes home that night or went home that night, what if his kids then come up to him and say, Daddy, why did you have to say it? Right. What was the reason you said it? That's who he has to answer to.
Right, absolutely. I really appreciate everybody weighing in on it. We're not going to take too long on it because, like I said, this is just an extra tidbit. Before I let Holiday go ahead and say what he got to say real quick. It's ridiculous that we now live in a world where people, when you say something that people don't like or you do something that people don't like, they quick to go straight to cancel culture. Oh, later for that person, we're not supporting that person because they said something or they did something we don't like. Now, of course, it's your prerogative to pretty much support that person moving forward if you want or not. But to just base it on the fact that they said something that's opposite to how you feel or opposite to what you would have said, it's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. Because it's like you saying, okay, if you don't think like I think, and you don't do what I do, You don't move the way I move, then I don't want nothing to do with you. Why would you want everybody else to be exactly like you? That makes no sense. But at the same time, you say, "Oh, I'm proud to be an American." You know, it's the land of opportunity, and you know, everybody, you know, basically gets a chance to succeed in this particular country.
Mm-hmm.
Yet, if they don't think like me, if they don't do what I do, if they don't support what I support, later for them. It's very contradictory. Now, in terms of what Hubert Davis said, I don't have a problem with what he said. In the likeness of what Magic quoted, I necessarily wouldn't have done it that way. But then again, I'm not Hubert Davis, and neither is Magic. Hubert Davis is Hubert Davis. I've heard people say things like, well, you know, I think he should have said at least, hey, you know, I'm also proud of my wife, who happens to be Caucasian American. And I'm also proud of our children, who happen to be interracial. However he worded it, like I said, you know, just because somebody don't word something the way you want them to word it, don't necessarily mean they said something wrong. But, you know, it's probably from his wife's perspective, if I was to take a guess, she may not have wanted to be represented in that way, because when people see her, they're going to see her as, oh, they go Hubert Davis's white wife. But, you know, he said what he said, and that's what it is. But Holiday, go ahead and say what you got to say.
Unfortunately, to get an understanding of why, there's so many things. See, so being a father, you want better for your kid. Being a black pride is a heavy thing. That you get an opportunity to be proud of something as a black person. I mean, it's hard to contain because of the limitation that was set on us by the society and the world that we come up in. So that's why you still hear the first things, because it's not common. We're not still readily accepted in this society. We're still looked upon and feared. We're still misunderstood. Our culture is still stolen. We're still not given credit for a lot of things. So when we're able to accomplish things, we want to shout about it because we're not given a proper acknowledgement. The divisiveness becomes then because we want better for our kids. So when you say you like this, and that really hurts me and my culture, yeah, now I do move away from it because I can't chance it. I have kids that I want better for. This society is very divisive and can be dangerous to a black person. My kid can go out in a car and be pulled over and killed. So yes, when we accomplish something, man, I talk about it a lot. I don't mind somebody saying it's the first thing. And yeah, I feel like it's about damn time. What the fuck have we been waiting for? Let's move forward. And so to break walls, you do it with momentum. When we have strength, when momentum is our way, yeah, we move forward. And sometimes you're gonna cause problems. You're gonna, you like to say, you make a mess to crash through the walls. But when we had a momentum, we have to charge because we've been held back for so long. And you hate to just dwell on these things that can divide us. So, but it's like, hey, man, you didn't want to help us. You just want to hold us down. And it's not everybody. But when you talk as a whole, the systematic racism, you can't overlook it. So you can't, to me, help but say, fuck yeah, this is the first time. And I hope there's many more to where it's never a discussion about it being the first time. But anytime we do these things, we have to highlight it so others, the youngins, can see that it can be done. Because it was a myth. It was a joke. Jesse, what are you doing? Your ass ain't gonna never be president, black man. And then we saw it happen. It brought tears to everybody. You couldn't believe it. This shit really happened. It paused. You had to, I don't care what you was doing. You had to let that soak in for a minute. We have a black president. Man, you want to shit yourself. And so, yes, it makes it really now we can do it. We don't have anybody to really speak up for us, to step out for us. You have it with women. you have a lot of groups or advocates that'll run down to the Capitol somewhere. Black men don't really have that. If something go wrong with us, we're supposed to just deal with it, suck it up, do better. And so it's just that's why I think you always have to highlight it until it's not an uncommon thing.
If President Obama was not elected, if we didn't have a first black president, would you feel as an individual you still couldn't accomplish things?
Our race would not believe that. We would believe that's something we couldn't accomplish. Like we believed up until that point. So we had already put limitations on ourselves because we took one position and said we couldn't get it. So that right there, you don't believe. No one believed we would have a black president.
I didn't put that limitation on myself.
Okay, you're one person, but we're talking about a race as a whole. So
but how can you speak for the entire race to say that the race wouldn't be no good if we didn't have a black president? That's not true. That's not a fair statement.
Hold on. I didn't say no good. I said we already had limited what we believe we could accomplish.
Why?
Hold on, wait. Because before we ever had Barack, you heard it. Everyone said we would never have a black president. So
what?
The question is not why. That's a fact.
For hundreds of years, people said the earth was flat.
Hold on, Yancey.
Until they found out it was wrong.
Yancey, understand what I'm saying. We believe that we could not obtain a position. That's a limitation. Whether you as a single person didn't believe it, you're not understanding or connected wholly with the race. The race as a whole, the conversation as a whole back then, point back period, you can't change it, was the fact that we would never have a black president. So with that limitation, it was already set. Once you saw that, we believe we could. So just that fact alone exists. That answers your own question. That's a fact that obtained. We as a fact, as a race, believe we could not hold a position that existed that only a white man could have. Not even a woman, just a white man could have.
I don't think that's a true statement. So just because people say things doesn't mean...
Holiday, are you saying that all black people thought that way?
Marcus, I'm saying no, not all. You can't say all with anything. There's too many people in this world. Because I'm saying that was the talk at the time. Just like we sat here and talked about a chart and everything. Go back, read the articles if you want to. Look it up. No one believed it. Tupac, a great rapper and a poet, said it in his songs. We're not ready for one, he was saying. We never believed it could happen.
He said that. Tupac don't speak for me.
Man, okay, listen. All I'm saying is go back and read articles at the time. You don't seem to remember the discussions and the belief at the time. I guess you thought that you could have been black president. When Jesse ran year after year, it was a joke.
Yeah. That's because of what Jesse's platform was.
Everyone knew you were just running to get the blacks to come out to vote for the Democrat that you passed it on to. You were never even going to win the nomination.
That is Jesse's...
Hold on, forget him being president. We never even thought you could win the nomination to be president.
That's because nobody didn't like Jesse's platform. Not even black people liked his platform and what he was talking.
All right. Let's calm down, fellas. Let's calm down. This is what we're going to do. Although we started out speaking on the Hubert Davis press conference. All right. Let's calm down, fellas. Let's calm down. This is what we're going to do. Although we started out speaking on the Hubert Davis press conference and the fact that he made some comments towards his wife being Caucasian, things of that nature, this particular segment seems to be leaning in the direction of systemic racism. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to let Yancey and Holiday calm down, chill for a minute. Magic, I want you to pick up. But before you do so, this is how I want you to approach it, if you don't mind. Tell me your feelings and your thoughts on how you feel systemic racism is executed in today's society, and how it manifests itself in the multitude of ways that it does.
They do it through jobs, they do it through money. They do it through they do it through a lot of things that we probably not even can think of, and I'm a part of it because I like nice things, and stuff like that. But like I said, to me, I just feel like like the majority of black folk probably think a certain way because they see and they hear and they just follow. A lot of black folks can't, I think Yancey was trying to say this, they can't think for themselves without everyone else being with them. Like for my parents and family, we think for ourselves. We don't think through media and what you're hearing. And just because Tupac or somebody says, you know, like nobody think that a black could be a black president doesn't mean that it can't. The people not thinking that it could be. Now I know that the stigma on people. Yes, if you're saying the stigma is that we don't have what white people have. Yes, we don't. I mean, that's been like that since we was in slavery. We ain't had shit. So we're going to eventually, we're going to have all that. But to me, it's not even about being president or being the first this or the first that we were talking about earlier. I don't even care about that stuff. I more care about everybody being in unity and being treated equal. I could care less about a black president. I could care less about this black coach or this black this or black that. Yeah, it's great. Don't get me wrong. I know we came a long way because I didn't live back on slavery. We ain't had shit. So obviously my point of thinking is a little different. And I know I shouldn't think that way, but that's to me is part of moving forward. Part of moving forward is, you know, getting past this racial stigmas and racial, you know, things that are holding us back. But we can't do that without everyone. You know, you can't. We can't. It's gonna take more than just black folks. We haven't got too far because it's just us. You know, just because we president or we a coach or nah. We still got a long way to. We ain't got no. To me, we haven't got any farther. We're just living better. Just feel better about ourselves because we're living better.
So, start with the story. So the reason you cats actually ever know me and I wasn't in Alabama and those are not my roots is because my grandfather got in trouble for drinking at a white-only fountain. My great-grandmother, as y'all knew, Mount Florence, or Grandma Cherry, as some of y'all called her, was very pale-skinned, as you know. And because of that, the cash register informed her that you need to get that boy out of here tonight. And my family did, and we moved to D.C., Parson, Ohio. As they came through looking for my grandfather and burned down the property because they was going to kill him. Killing him at his teenager mean that I would never even be here. When we get to the 80s and you still had where companies hired one white black guy because they had to. We had to make a law to hire them. Otherwise, they wasn't going to hire them. You can't tell me it's not systematic racism. I live now outside of the Beltway in Montgomery County, which was considered a little more upper county. The police respond to the White Oak area. But you know what's happened over the years, more blacks and Spanish have moved up in that area. And so now on the other side of Colesville Road, where the rich stay at, that's where the response is now. It's not no longer below the Beltway. If you go through and you look at redlining, where realtors weren't allowed to sell to black people in certain communities, you can't tell me there's not systematic racism. When judges give harder crimes to black people for the same thing for a white man to do, you can't tell me it's not systematic racism. So when you talk about equal magic, that's the very thing. With systematic racism, it's hard to get equal because the system is designed to hold you back. Again, when a realtor can't sell in a certain area, the redlining still exists today. Go drive through your communities. You'll see it. Go see your crime areas, where the cops respond to and where they don't. Where the ambulances come to in a hurry and where they're not so fast to. You can't tell me it's not systematic racism. It's right there in front of you if you want to see it. But yes, we can live blind in this society and say everything is okay. You can do it on your own, but like Martin Luther King said, It's a mean thing to say to a man, to pull yourself up by your bootstraps when you don't have no boots. You can't tell me it's not racism or systematic racism when these things exist. Again, you can go blind to it, or you can ask about it. You can seek and see it. You can say, hey, everyone has an opportunity, but you know yourself that the opportunity is not the same. And then when you look and see it's divided mostly by color, you can't tell me it's not systematic racism.
What I'm saying is, it's like this, yo. I hear what everybody's trying to say, but you saying somebody's brainwashed. You can be brainwashed either way you want to look at it. You can be brainwashed. He can be brainwashed. You can say that about anything. You know what I'm saying? But the point of the matter is, yes, there's systematic racism. You can look at our justice system. When you can see a kid that gets charged with rape to get 20 years for being charged with rape, then you see a white kid rape a girl laying behind a dumpster, gets 3 months. That shows a systematic rape in the same state, in the same county. It shows there's a systematic racism.
It shows they had the wrong judge, Neville. That's what it shows. That's an individual. That's an individual decision.
But it's not. That's not the only example, though, Yancey.
And why is this person raping? Why is this person raping? You see what I mean?
But that's not the point we're talking
about. It is the point. No, but they shouldn't be conducting themselves in that manner. Yeah, you worried about a sentence, but
we know that, Yancey. We're talking about the justice system right now. You see what I'm saying?
That's the problem. We don't talk enough about the victims. That's the problem.
We're talking about the systematic racism through the justice system. You see what I'm saying? That's what we're talking about. I'm not saying that he was wrong or right. Yeah, he was dead ass wrong for raping somebody. I know that. That's not a question. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the justice system and how they treat black or white. That's what we're talking about. And I just told you an example of a football player that was 16 that raped a girl down there in Texas. Or they said he raped her. The girl came out later saying he didn't rape her, but he got 20 years. A girl just saying he did something to her. Then they found this white guy actually got caught raping a girl, caught by other people, raping someone. His parents went to the judge complaining, saying this will ruin his life, and they gave him 3 months. So that shows there's a difference in the way people think about race. This is the same county. This is the same state. This is not somebody in Alaska and somebody down in Alabama or something like that. It's the same place. So it's a difference of how people was treated in the justice system. So it is a difference. It's not all the same across the board.
But what I'm trying to tell you, Devil, is a judge has discretion. That's a judge decision. That judge should be off the court. You see what I mean?
Yes, we know that. Yes,
but so how is that? So how is? I'm saying how is that systematic when all judges, regardless of whether you're black, white, purple, or green, follow the same law, but they have discretion in how they sentence? That is a problem with the judge. The next time there's an election, that judge needs to be ousted. That's my point.
That's not an individual thing. The police department knows you got to protect the blue. They protect each other. Or they're going to ride for whatever they say. That's a systematic thing. That's not a personal thing.
Just a few months ago, people wanted to defund the police. They didn't want the police. But here's the thing. If they defund the police, who are the police? How are those people who want the police there in those communities to help each other, to help them when they're in their need of struggle? How are they going to get there to help?
Because if you take that money and put it into those neighborhoods, you have less crime.
Okay. Let's look at the money.
Understand what I'm saying. Listen, the police are supposed to protect and serve. But if you ask the average white guy, they tell you they fight crime. So why are you spending money to fight something that you can prevent?
Okay, all right. Now let's just take this. Let's just go back here. Now you believe in God, right?
Yes.
Okay, you believe Christ is your savior, correct?
Yes.
And so you believe that we live in a fallen world, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so you can't get rid of evil and bad stuff, correct?
Yes, correct. Okay. So long as we're on that foundation. Now, here's the thing I'm trying to say, Richard. Uh-huh. If you continue to believe in that, and you continue to think that is true, I'm not saying things haven't happened in the past and,
there was a period of slavery, then period of Jim Crow laws, a period of us being looked down on. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that didn't happen. America is not perfect. America is, still the greatest country in the world, but it has its flaws like any country. But what I'm saying, brother, is when you keep focusing on that, all you're going to be is bitter and spit the same stuff to the next generation. Because there's never going to, listen, there's never going to be a perfect society. What we need to do is realize that, yes, there are bad people in every industry. It's just not the police. But 9 times out of 10, if you do what the police ask you to do, whether you agree with it or not, hear me out, whether you agree with it or not, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be okay. Now, for that one time that you're not, or if there's an issue, that still doesn't mean you shouldn't comply until you can take it up another day, whether that be in the court or something. I'm not saying that everybody is perfect, because we're not. But for you to sit there and say you don't want the police, they should be defunded. When somebody stole your car, who did you call? Who did you call?
No police. Hold on.
No. Time out. When somebody stole your car, who did you call?
Hold on, wait. I didn't.
Okay, you called them, right?
Yeah. So let me help you answer. This is what you're saying. You've been trained to accept the crumbs. I'm telling you, it's a big cookie. I'm not accepting the crumbs that are left behind from the cookie you picked up. You telling me that's all I'm supposed to eat and be happy with that. That's what you've been trained to do. You've been trained to say, look, nigga, that's good. Eat them crumbs. I'm telling you, that's better for us. I'm telling the next generation, that's better for us. You don't have to accept them crumbs that were left on the table for you. Like to tell you, good nigga, eat them crumbs. You got well enough. Like you said, you got judges. You got this in places. Why you keep asking for more? Be happy, nigga. That's what they're telling you. And that's what
who is telling me that?
That's what you're repeating.
Who are the people?
Listen, when you repeat, listen.
Who is telling you that?
My gosh, when you repeat those things,
let them talk.
When you repeat those things, that's the system that we're talking about. That's the trained thing. So that's why I don't tell my generation to be happy with them crumbs. That's when I say defund the police. I tell you, listen, I didn't say no police. You have to defund these things that fight us. And you have to put that money into the community. See, if you take the bad, if you defund the police, leave the money for the good police, right? You need some police.
What makes a good police officer then?
Wait. You take and put that money in the community. So now these communities, this ghetto, you're not fighting for crumbs. Now you make this crumb a cookie. And so I'm not committing these crimes. So my crime within the neighborhood no longer is a crime in the neighborhood because you put the money into the neighborhood instead of fighting crime.
Do you know how much money goes in the neighborhoods every year?
You know how much money goes into fighting crime? You know how much money they go into that? How much the tactical and all this armored gear they have, where if they took and put that money into the community?
Have you seen the criminals they fighting? Have you seen the criminals they're fighting?
This is what I'm saying. When there's less crime, there's less need for police. You don't need to sew up my jeans if I don't have a hole in it. But what
I'm telling you, holes are always going to exist.
But listen, if you don't give me the needed materials to take care of my jeans, there's going to be plenty of holes in them, and you're going to always be fighting that.
So where should this money go?
So remember,
where should this money go from the bad police officers' pay? Where should it go in the community?
To housing, to development, to education. The very things that grow, the very things in the 60s and mid 50s that they gave to middle class white America that helped jump America into the place that it was. They helped put them ahead. When you say middle class, right? That used to be a certain level. But as more minorities obtained that level, did you know how that middle class number moved up to move us out of the middle class where we're still a part of the poor again? Things like that don't make you think like, dang, how did that happen? How do we keep being in this position? We reached these numbers that you said we had to reach, but you moved the bar. Is it us? No. Why? What is the planet of the apes? What is that telling you? Huh? When you look into that, it tell you, white people, what it's going to be like if niggas rule. Listen, the Michelin Man is a white tire. Tires are black. He's all white. It's in front of you, but you ignore it. It's constant racism in front of you that we ignore, we accept, we think nothing of it.
All right. We got to close this out. So I want everybody to take 2 minutes to cap off what they got to say. Because we got to go ahead and end this. Holiday, since you already in your flow, if you can cap up what you got to say in 2 minutes, please do so.
Yeah, so, like I say, so when you build up communities, again, you have less crime. So education, again, you have less crime. Idle mind, Silver, you can relate, is the devil's workshop. So when I give you, as we had, direct and different places to go, so I'm not idle, hanging out in the streets, helps the put money into Big Brother programs, developing trades for these minorities in these lower income, and not just minorities, just lower income areas, period. It will help America. But as long as we put money into fighting something we can prevent, we're going about backwards. Prevention is what we want. We don't want it to exist. Fighting, it says it's going to exist. We can't do nothing about it. So when you choose to put money into fighting, you're saying, well, there's nothing we can do about it. So you have to accept it, you have to fight it. No, I'm telling you, that's not true. It's something we can do about it. We have to put our minds together and unite. So when someone tells you that they're hurting, to tell them they're not hurting is a disservice to their pain. So as long as we keep telling America that we're hurting, and they keep telling us we're not hurting, or just accept our the pain, it's a disservice to us, and it'll never help us. And we'll keep being in this circle and cycle that we're in. And they'll keep telling us, well, you have a few that's done, why can't you? And there'll be no understanding for the struggles that you go through in this community, in the ghetto or low income areas. So more understanding is needed. Education is needed for those outside, and then the money is needed for the education of those inside, which will make a better place. But to say it doesn't exist, again, it's just a disservice to those that are in pain. And a choice not to understand those that are in pain. You can't help those that you decide don't need help.
All right, I greatly appreciate that, Holiday. I can really tell that, you know, it's a sensitive topic to your heart, and I appreciate you speaking your heart, especially the story you told about your was your grandfather, your great grandfather, excuse me,
The grandfather.
your grandfather. Okay, I greatly appreciate you sharing that with everybody. Yancey, I'm coming to you last. Nev, I want you to go next. 2 minutes, please.
Oh, you coming to me next? Ooh, you coming outside here. Go ahead, Marcus. You go first. I am my thoughts together right now. Go ahead, Marcus.
Hey, Marcus, I need Magic. I'm sorry. I need you to unmute your mic.
Bad damn. Sorry.
Magic sitting back enjoying the show.
He got his popcorn ready and everything, right?
I was just listening, man. I'm like, good stuff here going on here.
Yeah, it's good, man. It's good. I ain't gonna lie. But go ahead, man.
I mean, I definitely, I'm listening to everybody, and Neville's right, Yancey. You can't look at it one way. I think you're just looking at it one way. I myself look at it both ways. Richard is definitely right. I feel for Richard because I know he's very passionate about this, and I, for myself, I just feel like I said before, I just feel like we have choices, and a lot of things don't get done unless you fight for them. And if you're not willing to fight, then usually you're gonna keep getting fed what you've been getting fed. Now, you look outside America, most people are willing to die and fight for what they want. And of course, in America, we are not at that point. We're too rich, and a lot of people are happy with their lives. Say, I'm going to give up my life and not worry about my kids to say, I want change in America. If you're not ready to do that, then you might as well just move on and accept America for what America is. And that's how I look at it. Because I can move. I don't have to live here. I don't have to be American. Now, I agree with Richard a lot. Yeah, it's here, it's evident. But even white folk get treated bad. We're not the only people that get treated bad. White folk get treated bad just like us. They get beat up, they get treated just like us. The only difference is, like they play on white people that's not getting beat up. You know, they tell them, hey, we'll give you this, we'll give you land, we'll give you money. The same thing they doing with us, they did to them. Their own people. They're doing the same thing to us because they don't want us to fight. They don't want a war. They don't want a war within America. No one wants that. But to me, all countries, I don't care what country you go to, I don't care who in charge, I don't care if us as black people in charge. There's always going to be some negativity going on. There's always going to be somebody not treated fair. It's not, the world is not perfect.
Right, absolutely. Appreciate that, Magic. Nev, you ready?
Yeah. Well, let's talk about how to fix things. You know what I'm saying? How to fix things and make things better. You know what I'm saying? The number one way we have to fix things, we have to start with the youth. You know what I'm saying? We can't sit around yelling back and forth towards each other because we've already locked into how we think. We're too old for that now. You know what I'm saying? We think a certain way, our brains won't work a certain way. We locked into that thinking. So we done when it comes to that. You know what I'm saying? We're done because we're already locked in so much. We entrenched in the concrete and our feet and all that. So we got to go back to the youth and start teaching our kids. We got to understand that if you teaching hate in any kind of way, you know what I'm saying? You're the problem, no matter what you want. We've seen a lot of hate in this country. There's no denying that. It's a lot of hate in this country. You know what I'm saying? And if you're teaching that, which a lot of people are teaching their kids hate, you know what I'm saying? That is the biggest problem going on right now. So if we're not teaching the kids to love all humans, you know what I'm saying? Because it's only really one race, like they say, it's only one race, the human race. You know what I'm saying? So if we're not teaching everybody to love everybody, then that's the biggest problem. You're the problem.
This has been a wonderful, wonderful episode. As of right now, I just want to cap it off real quick. To all the followers and fans, listeners, and loyalties of the Black Brotherhood Squadcast, we greatly appreciate y'all joining us for episode 2. This show is dedicated to the late Earl Simmons, DMX. On April 25th, the last Sunday of this month, your boy DJ Gemini will be doing a live stream from the dressing room and shoe parlor, which is at 5061 Allentown Road, to promote black businesses. I will be starting to play in front of black businesses to bring more attention and more foot traffic to these particular businesses by playing good music in front of their establishments. So I want to give a shout out to Vanessa Adams, the owner of the dressing room and shoe parlor at 5061 Allentown Road, Capitol Heights. That being said, we're going to close it out with a DMX prayer. This is from DMX's 2006 album, Year of the Dog. Father, please walk with us through the bad times as well as the good. May we be heard and understood from the suburbs to the hood. May you judge us by our hearts and not by our mistakes, and see that we get a breakthrough, however long that it takes. May you fill that void in our souls that will lay for our fears to rest, because there is no way we can live for Jesus when we're living in the flesh. So I pray that you allow our spirits to be born, grow strong, move on, know right from wrong. 1 John chapter 2, verse 15. Do not love the world or anything in the world. And we know what that means. But listen, we know the distance. We need to be away from fire to keep it missing. That doesn't mean we'll listen. Lord, you take care of fools and babies. You teach women to honor their men, and men respect their ladies. But lately, so many of us have gone astray, doing wrong for so long that we've forgotten the way. Please bring us back home, instill in us the word, which is our backbone. We're just children who act grown. DMX, the Prayer 3. Rest in power, baby. The dog. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank you all for spending your time, for spinning your wheels in your head as we spew out the rhetoric on these various topics that we have spoke about right here today on the Black Brotherhood Squadcast. We greatly appreciate your presence as well as your support. The Black Brotherhood Squadcast is sponsored by Podbean and RJG Entertainment. Once again, I want to say thanks to my prestige panelists, Yancey, Nev, Holiday, and Magic. And I am yours truly, DJ Gemini. See y'all next time. Love, peace, and hair grease. We up out of here.